everyone. Thought I would first talk about the story, and then we're going to go on and talk about art in general. Art is a interesting tool for us writers because it allows us to discuss further and produce deeper readings into not just visual but also literary. And because we are now transitioning to literature, I think exercising your art muscles will be very helpful. Now, this first image is obviously Gregor Samsa waking up. Notice the face is still humanoid. There's a sense that um, Gregor is still in the middle of transformation. Uh, if you recall the story, the Gregor doesn't exactly um, behave like a roach at the beginning. He tries to walk on two legs. He tries to open the door. Only has to use his mouth to open the door. Um, there are moments where he might be speaking and no one seems to understand, which is also an intriguing element to the story. Um, so we're not entirely sure how human Gregor is at the beginning, but I think this image does a great job of showing that human level, while also obviously dealing with the uh, disgusting Kafkaesque, nightmarish situation here. Notice the triangle shape of where your focus should go. This is where artists like to shape your focusing points in triangle shape because that allows for the greatest impact to the viewer. So keep an eye out for areas of focus. Notice the areas the artist intends to not want you to be interested in. It's often the dark areas or bland areas or areas you're not supposed to be looking at. By knowing the areas you're not supposed to be looking at, you know the areas that you are supposed to be looking at, which is obviously right smack here. Okay. Now, here's another image of Gregor waking up. This definitely switched to the other end of the spectrum. Gregor is most definitely a bug in this image. Um, Notice the wallpaper has a certain similarity to the limbs of Gregor, so that there is this connection. The wallpaper is kind of this emphasis of the transformation. Um, Notice the shape. Probably you were looking at around this way for the triangle. The areas you should not be looking at is probably the floor here. Probably don't need to look there except for these little detail items like the shoe and the newspaper and some clothing and so forth for Gregor. These elements add to the human quality that Gregor once held but no longer has. Notice the MC Escherish transformation. There's the human slowly transforming into the bug at the other end of the image, which is a playful way to play with that theme of transformation. This is an amateur image. I liked it though because first of all, I like the use of negative space. You definitely know you're not supposed to be looking at these areas up here. Here's the portrait that so symbolized the last vestige of Gregor's humanity. There's a bowl that Greta fed Gregor with, a little small. But what's most intriguing is probably where the triangle shape is. What's most intriguing is the fact that Gregor looks human in this image. And that's because there is some debate as to what exactly has happened to Gregor. I think the best metaphor for Gregor is the metaphor of illness. Gregor could have turned into a roach, but he could have also just as easily gotten sick or injured or paralyzed, so that his family had to take care of him, and not the other way around like he was used to. So it becomes this statement about how families treat their sick ones, and sometimes it's a little ugly when you think about that. And I think Kafka was intent on showing you, how people react to when someone in the family becomes ill and changes drastically. This is a initial sketch that Vladimir Nabokov drew after reading this story. Nabokov is a literary giant, but he's also amateur entomologist, and by reading the details of what Gregor is, he got the sense that that is the image of Gregor. Now, moving on to regular art, this image is Christina's world. Notice the triangle shape. Obviously, you're supposed to be looking at Christina, but you're also then led to up here in the farm. Notice the horizon is so high up there to give you this sense of drowning, as if like this tidal wave of farmland is coming at you. The image itself is from a story. It's about a young paralyzed girl named Christina who decided to just leave and run away from her farmhouse, and she couldn't get very far. And this is how they found her. They found her looking back at her house because this is all she could ever know. That's the title. That's why it's titled Christina's World. It's all she'll ever know because she can't get away from it. This image is Saturn eating his children. It's a example of how you portray the monstrous. First of all, the triangle is probably something like that, or maybe something like this. You know by looking at all the negative space, which is black, and the shading. You know from the center that's where you're supposed to be looking at because that's the most well lit area. Everything else is a little darker. Notice the asymmetry in the figure of Saturn. If you know your Greek and Roman myth, Saturn was the father of Zeus and all the other gods. He was a Titan, but he would eat his children because it was prophesied that his children would uprise and kill him, which exactly is what happened. Young Zeus, or Jupiter, ends up killing him. Notice the hair and the body shape and the arms. They're all asymmetrical because you're supposed to see the monstrousness, the unnatural quality. While you look at the body that he is eating, and there is certainly more human symmetry. We can see that it looks more human to us, and therefore we relate to it. Even though it's a body, and we can even see the eyes of Saturn, we far more relate to this than the monstrous quality of Saturn. This is the rescue of the Medusa. There is obviously a triangle here. Notice the lines, the horizon lines, the shape of the raft all point to this area here. You're supposed to look here first because it's the moment of glory. Then you transition to this area and you see sadness, you see death, you see the moment before they realize they're going to be rescued. And then there's this negative space here, some negative space around here, but this picture is very busy. It'll take some time to fully understand it, but the light coming down here comes down here, also pointing to this area. And the sea is higher up here than down here because this area means calmer seas, while this area means darker and dangerous seas. So this is a classic photograph, obviously of Marines putting the flag up on Iwo Jima. The image is so iconic because First of all, obviously triangle. It has the flag. It has soldiers. Soldiers, you can't see their faces. And then all this negative space. Look at all this use of negative space so that you know exactly what you're supposed to be focusing on. Very iconic, a lot of emotion involved in this particular image. This last one is the Temptation of St. Anthony. It's a complex image. It is a surreal image by Salvador Dali. Obviously, your first focus is on the horse and then the train behind him of elephants with extremely long legs. And then you look at the details and you see that the elephants are carrying this church, and there's this naked body and there are naked women on the church, which is to suggest that there is this corruption within the church. And so here's St. Anthony holding his cross, and the horse is rearing back because of this, and notice the horse's horseshoes are backwards to suggest that the horse is going the wrong way. And the image is of a saint that is standing against the corruption of the church. So yes, it's in a very intriguing image, but the message is there as well. Okay, notice the negative space here, negative space there, and then a few details here and there just to give you something else to look at after you've looked at the initial image. Alright, so next module we'll be doing art essays, where I will be giving you a choice of 2 images 3 times. So the first, you'll have to write a paragraph 3 times, and you'll have a choice between 2 images. You'll get to pick one, and then you'll write a good strong paragraph for each one, and then it'll be a way for you to test your artistic writing. This way you'll get an idea of how to express your thoughts of the visual and when you examine art, and this will help you as we go on into literature. Alright?